Through adherence to Edgar Dale's cone of experience, preferably one that has developed within the last several decades, as opposed to the original 1946 edition, an educator can easily deduce that students will get more classroom benefit from actively participating in an activity that involves the use of their audiovisual kinesthetic facilities than they would from simply reading text or hearing it read aloud. This is particularly relevant as many students, notably the ones who specify an affirmed distaste for reading, do so because they can't see what they're reading, i.e. they cannot read cinematically and require some sort of visual kinesthetic medium to help them synthesize the reading. Now, to push this further, what are some ways that students might participate in said activities and still utilize their digital literacies? Although cell phones, YouTube, Twitter, MySpace, and iPods are almost universally banned from middle and high school classrooms, there should still be ways to utilize modern technology in an effort to connect with these students. So, how can we encourage and foster the creative attitudes and activities of students while continually using technology that they might do so in their homes or that's readily available in the classroom? To this, I propose 2 assignments. 1, have students write a script for, film, and direct a scene from a play, novel, short story, or whatever they're reading in class. And 2, have the students create a digital comic or some other form of digital, pictorial, sequential art. For the dramatic activity, this should be done as a group assignment. The students must first have some text to focus on. Again, a novel, play, short story, etc. From there, they're either to select or be assigned a scene. Now, assigning secures the possibility that multiple groups won't do the same scene. The groups must then interpret their scene and convert it to a script involving characters' action, dialogue, setting, possibly camera and stage direction, among other things. As Gibson says, every student seeks to create his or her own meaning rather than passively soak up information. So, that in mind, it behooves the students to sample multiple different dramatic interpretations of the text. Now, some examples are using Shakespeare's Hamlet as an example. I could show clips of Hamlet, Tragedy of a Prince, or Hamlet in Nigeria. The Gilligan's Island Hamlet.
I ask to be or not to be, a rogue or peasant slave is what you see. A boy who loves his mother's knee, and so I ask to be or not to be.
Mel Gibson in Franco Zeffirelli's Hamlet.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous force.
And the scratch and burn Hamlet in 1 minute, which is a wrap.
I'm gonna start by acting nuts and talking to the audience.
Hey Hamlet, if you love me, why are you shunning me?
I never loved thee, go get thee to a nunnery. Hey, nonny, nonny, and a nonny, nonny, hey, gather round everybody for a play within a play.
Students will need cameras or camcorders and possibly tripods for this assignment, so it is heavily dependent on the teachers, schools, and even any students' materials. iPhones have a camera video feature. If there's no cameras available, it centers any recording portion of this assignment, although scripting and class drama are still an option. Classroom time will also be a large factor in this project. If little is available, then little will likely be accomplished. Encourage the students to use storyboards in the production of the actual film, and explanations of how camera angles impact the viewer's perceptions of the characters when they're watching, i.e. filming an actor at an upright angle from a low position tends to give a character a larger, superior presentation, while filming an actor at a downward angle from a high position tends to give a character a smaller, inferior presentation. Plus, storyboards will also work really well on the construction of a digital comic, second part. For the settings, students should consider the story and the settings available, and anything on campus or nearby, i.e. a grassy knoll, classroom, hallways, stage or drama, theater, etc., etc., and props, what they and the school have available. Teaming up with the drama department here would work really well. Encourage students to shoot their scenes several times, incorporating different angles, gestures, dialogue, etc. into the film. 3 is a good number for actual full takes. Also encourage them to include a bloopers reel after the final product. Works really well with the credits. Note that their final product should be perfect. No dialogue flubs, forgotten lines, notable mistakes. Points will be deducted from this just like typos would be deducted from a final draft. Encourage students to edit their videos in Windows Movie Maker or iMovie, and to edit out poor scenes and mix and match different shoots or attempts at different shots plus additional effects, i.e. scene, transitions, credits, other stuff, in order to produce a final product which they will later present to the class. And school and student resources, including time, computers, are vital to this portion. Windows Movie Maker should be in most, if not all, of the classroom computers. For the digital comics, students should create their scene from the novel, play, short story, etc. pictorially rather than dramatically. An important benefit of graphic novels is that they present alternative views of culture, history, and human life in general and accessible ways. While the dramatic performance functions well as a group assignment, the digital comic functions well as an individual assignment. Resources for digital comics, at least as I'm instructing, will require plenty of paper, not notebook paper, art paper, or print paper at the very least, markers, crayons, colored pencils, and a computer with scanner, and an additional voice recorder. Explain some of the elements of the comic or cartoon style to the students. This includes speech bubbles, thought bubbles, ploids, how panels work, etc., etc., and encourage them to attempt to graphically capture their characters in the panels as they would with their camera angles, a la the storyboarding process. Encourage marginal amounts of dialogue in panels in favor of more panels with more dialogue spread out. This makes for smaller speech bubbles and more focus on the graphic aspects of the comic. Once the students have drawn out and inked, i.e. going over the light pencil marks with a dark pen or marker their comics, they can proceed to scan the images into a computer. Showing students the basics of graphic design programs such as Adobe Photoshop, the GIMP, or MS Paint will help them remove the imperfections from the digital scans, add text to the panels, which is often much easier to read and manage than writing it by hand, and assemble their pages in the order in which they want them to be read. Also, students should be allowed the option to create wholly digital comics, i.e. using any of the previously mentioned programs to draw, color, and assemble their comic. Once the comic is assembled digitally, have the students record a reading of their scene, notably with different voices for different characters, plus a narrator, etc. This portion should likely require more than one person, and with that in mind, the teacher should work a partners groups portion into this assignment, or revise the independent work status altogether. Then have the students load the comic panels into Windows Movie Maker, iMovie, along with the reading recordings, sync up the timing, and publish it as a movie that can be presented to the class. Through either dramatic construction of a scene or a graphic pictorial construction of a scene from their reading, and by encouraging students to utilize the available tools from their digital literacies, students are then better able to visualize their reading and in turn better synthesize their learning, transforming the classroom into a place for students not only to produce and share meanings, but a place where they share ways of reading and being with the text, creating a classroom that not only fosters learning, but one wherein students will be actively engaged in participation that can be easily be categorized under Dale's what they say or write, or what they say as they do portion of the cone of experience.